This is the Borth podcast, where smart ideas spark new opportunities. If you're ready to see money in a whole new way and build a life on your terms, you're in the right place.
Hello, welcome back to the Borth podcast. And if you're on our YouTube channel, welcome and thank you so much. I just recently did a recording where I did just a quick demonstration of, I said, what was your burn rate and how many days of liquidity do you have? Now, I think it was excellent. It was really simple, very high level, but obviously we can get into it. And if you want to see something like that, go back and listen to it, watch it. It's beneficial. We have a simple spreadsheet. We have some very simple illustrations about how do you think about money and how do you find a sense of ease and kind of calmness when things happen in your life. So when I was doing that podcast, I went out and I had somebody go to me, wait, what's liquidity? I'm like, wow, great question. I should use not simpler words that relate to other people. Sometimes, I've coached a lot of agents, like, don't use industry jargon. Don't talk with a word with you have the expectation everybody knows, but let's talk about it in simpler terms. Do you have enough cash to give you the ability to sleep at night? Simplest way to put it. Do you have enough cash or access to cash, not investments, not anything else, but do you have enough access to cash to allow you to sleep at night, to be able to lay your head on the pillow? And that's really what we're talking about. The series I'm into, it's just from a number of different conversations. This is what most people are feeling because they have a sense of uncertainty of the future. And so that brings anxiety, which brings a lot of things that are not healthy in your relationship with yourself and your creator and, your business or whatever it is. You're making decisions out of stress. And so how do we reduce that level of stress? And most of the time it comes down to something very, very simple. It's like, do I have enough cash that if something happens, if I make a business decision, if I do something with our family, whatever it might be. And I'm going to share a story today, just on my own personal story, where this was very clear. And it's funny, it's taken me this long to kind of put it together to be able to present to this group, to the crowd here. But I want to share this with you. And so it was, this was probably back in, I'm going to say it's in 2009. I know it's in 2009. I was trying to remember the exact date. It was January 4th, 5th, or 6th. I don't remember exactly what the exact date was. Let me ask the question of the crowd. If you didn't have a job today, or if you didn't have the ability to earn income today, how would you feel? What would that feel like? Most people that have never experienced it can't describe what that feels like. I'll say back in 2009, this is exactly what happened to me. I'd never been fired from a job in my life. I was working for an insurance company, doing a really good job. We were I was an independent contractor, recruiting and training agents. This is a job I really loved. I really enjoyed. And we were doing really well. Financially, it was really good. 2008 and 2009 came along, and the insurance company I was working with looked at that and says, I think, again, this is, I'm presuming they thought that's what they said. Maybe they didn't give it even this much thought. They go, these guys are independent. We want to have control of them. We want to have them be employees. And they're making, I don't want to say too much money. They're making good revenue for doing what they're doing, which, again, not just delivering value. We were delivering tremendous value. So the head of the division comes down, and again, we're independents. We're not employees, but we happen to be at an industry meeting. And so he shows up at this industry meeting, which is really weird because he didn't show up. And he invited us to a lunch after the final question. And he basically says, hey, we're going to eliminate this position. You're out of a job immediately. A lot of things run through your head. Your knee starts to bounce. Your hands start to sweat a little bit. Your throat dries up. Again, this is my reaction because it's never happened to me before. And in my mind, I'm going, what the heck am I going to do? Immediately, I'm starting thinking, okay, where do we make cuts? It was very much a panic attack, and it was a scarcity mindset attack. So there's three of us as these independent contractors. We were called MGA. So our job is to go out and recruit agencies to work for this particular company. And we all happened to be there together. And so we went back to Glenn's office, and he's been through a lot. He kind of put his hand on my shoulder and says, we'll be good. And that sense of reassurance was really helpful because, again, I've never gone through this. I've never experienced what this was like. I've never been fired from a job. I've always been, obviously good enough not to get fired, but always made moves based on what I wanted to have happen, not somebody else's decision. it was stressful. Immediately they get this panic attack to run through you. And it was funny because I was we went back to Glenn's office. This was down in Orlando, Florida. Went back to his office, and he had on this plaque up on his desk, he had this quote from Joshua 1:9, right? So I'll read it to you so I don't mess it up because I'm always good about shorthanding the stuff. But he goes, "Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord is with you wherever you go." And I was reading that, and I'm like, there's a sense of strength that came from that. But also what I started to realize and what the clarity was, once I read that, I started to find some real clarity about what I had and what we've done. And I'm like, again, I'm still in the kind of panic mode, but I'm starting to calm down, and it takes a little bit. And so we sat there and talked. It's okay, what do we do? It was just kind of a shock to us all. And so you start making inventory. You start taking a list of like, okay, again, where you start from my scarcity mindset, I'm going to take it like, we're going to limit this, we're going to do this membership, and do I need to, part of that, my son being, at Christian school, is all this important to us? And it kind of hit me as like, hey, wait a second. I teach and I talk to agents and clients all the time about having liquidity, having money, having cash available in their whole life policies. So they quickly, this was beginning back in 2009. I call up the company and say, hey, what do I have in this policy? I'm like, okay, I'm good. I know I have 6, 8, 10 months, depending on how we change our expenses, to make decisions, to kind of think clearly. And that's access to cash was huge because, again, if I hadn't had that, or if I didn't know what that was, you go into the sense of panic and it's hard to get out. Even on the flight home, I was like, wow, we have like 9 months of liquidity, but how do I stretch it to 12? So like, what expenses can we have? And again, this wasn't the worst thing to do in that situation. Let's reduce expenses. Let's make sure it lasts. It says 9 months at the current rate, but let's make it 12 months at the current rate. Why not? Right. So that's kind of the process we went through. I tell you that to kind of share with you the importance of having, again, we call it liquidity. We call it a burn rate. Not everybody appreciates or understands what that is, and nor should they. But it's this idea of how much certainty. And I hadn't gone through this in my own mind. If I would have gone through this in my own mind when that happened, I would have not, it just wouldn't have the panic that went through me at that time. Again, so anybody that's ever been fired, anybody that's ever had something happen to them from, downsizing to whatever it might be, you're going along, you're doing your thing, you aren't giving much, and all of a sudden, all your cheese is moved. Like, how do you transition? How do you adjust to that? What's the new norm? And again, cash gives you room, time. It buys you time. It buys you time to breathe. I heard this one time about death benefits. It's like, I've gone through this with my dad, she says, and she says, I've gone through this with my dad, and that death benefit gave us time to breathe, give us time to think, it gave us time to adjust. Well, I have a saying that says the most important time you need liquidity or cash is at the time of a death, because that is like emotionally one of the hardest things you're ever going to go through. The second most important time to need cash is every day before that. This is a position where I needed liquidity. I needed cash. I needed money. And knowing I had it there calmed me down. I understood that I was on a path, and now we can start making better decisions. And from that, we did some things differently. We made some, I think, really solid decisions, and we kind of took off from there. I don't know what trajectory I was on. It was hard for me to see that, and now I kind of see it, but it allowed us to grow and make better decisions because we had access to cash. But knowing that is going to be key. And so what I would say, anybody that's listening to this, find a way, send me an email. Send an email to Wade at Sagewell Strategy. Look in the show notes down below. There'll be a link. Contact me. Say, do you have, and just, if you want to send an email with just one word, just put liquidity. Just type liquidity in the notes. I'll get you some documents to help you start figuring out what that is. And again, this is on a previous video we talked about. I kind of showed what we're doing, but it's just so important that we, when those events happen in our lives, and they're going to happen to us all, we need access to money, and reduces the stress, reduces the anxiety that we're having because of that. Because again, this is the first time I'd ever been fired. First and only time I've ever been fired in my life. And it wasn't a good feeling. And so the thing that got through me, that we got through really quick. Once I got home, talked to my wife, he's like, we have cash. We're in a good position. Let's start making decisions so we can grow from this instead of having it devastate us. So anyhow, I would just ask that you click on the links to just request some information. Request to sit down. I have a calendar where if you're looking for more guidance in this, if you want that sense of security, that sense of like knowing I'm in good shape going forward, we have a whole process, a really simple, easy process for you to go through. So connect with me. Would love to have that conversation. Our team at Factum we're experts at this conversation. So thank you so much. And we will hopefully be hearing from you and talking to you soon.
I appreciate you spending some time with me. Change starts with understanding, and action builds the future. We'll catch you on the next episode.